What is up, Impact Nation? Welcome to another episode of the Anthem of Impact Wrestling show. I'm your host, Jason, and we're going to go over last night's episode of Impact. And, one thing I want to touch up on is the whole Global Force Wrestling, Impact Wrestling thing. At the very beginning, it kind of talked about some like the unification stuff and changes that are being made to the company. And Josh mentioned, and I can see more changes coming in the next, I think he said like 6 to 8 weeks, which was obviously put there to kind of put to rest a lot of people's kind of questioning of what to call it, what the name is, why isn't it like a full just boom change. I think they're going to slowly change it, because if you're trying to bring back fans, and they're going to look for Impact, right? They're going to look for that name, Impact Wrestling. And so if you just all of a sudden the next day, boom, it's Global Force, people aren't going to find it. They're going to go, what the hell is this? That's a good way to find new fans, but again, it's the gradual. They want to bring back fans and then start getting new ones, and that's whenever they'll be bringing in the Global Force name, the full rebranding, and try to get away from that the stigma, the stink of TNA and Impact. So I'm still fully behind all this, and hopefully it'll continue to grow. You're clearly seeing all the partnerships benefit from the rebranding. But anyway, we'll get into the show now. It starts off with a little video package, obviously, with the LEX down at the clubhouse talking. Homicide says, hey, Conan, for real, man, what's going on with this new member? And Conan pretty much just says, listen, man, I promise by the end of the night, I will announce the new member of LAX. Then he goes back to another video package, kind of recapping Slammiversary. Really good packaging. Again, Kelvin Sullivan's just killing it. And then the actual show starts. We start in the ring set up for a celebration. We get the Alberto El Patron celebration. And as he's coming out, and he's sitting there kind of initially talking, and you got Dos Coros and his brother Algio del Dos Coros or something, like, can't remember how he said it. He says it so fast, and I haven't seen it like printed out yet, so I don't know. But it's the second. I know it stands for like the son of Dos Coros, I think. That's something like that. But anyway, he's a jacked up dude, and Alberto kind of hinted at possibility. I guess he could be joining Impact here soon, and hey, I'll look forward to anything of that family, man. Mel Mascaras, Dos Caras, and Alberto has been pretty good. But as I'm seeing him in that suit, he's got both titles. They're celebrating. You got the heritage of the Lucha Libre and the way he talks so passionate about Lucha Libre. If you saw the First Word stuff on YouTube, man, I can't help it. I really like Alberto El Patron as the top guy right now in Impact. I know a lot of people don't. I'm sure there's some people that can agree with me. Even if they might not like him, just the look of him with the suit, the look, he pulls it off and it looks great. Because he does. I have in my notes, like, he looks like the boss, like the Godfather, and he does. He looks like a Hispanic Godfather, and it looks great. I love that look on a champion. So he goes on after, like I said, he says that his brother could be joining Impact here soon. He goes on talking about how he's going to be a fighting champion. He doesn't care who you are, who you are, how long you've been here. If you're from a different country, a different company, all around the world, he doesn't care. If you want to fight, he'll fight you and he'll defend his title, which could be good. I mean, it depends, because what happens on later on the show and what some possibilities are. If he stays face, that's like perfect. If he's that guy that comes in because he is a well-known guy, very established, obviously, and he can help put people over, especially whenever you want to maybe start somebody in that division, like a Matt Sydal, something like that. Low-key versus Alberto El Patron could be a really good match. Doesn't mean he has to win, but it gets in your mind like, oh, okay, well, they can go after that title then, especially if they put on a good match. So hopefully, as long as if he does stay babyface, I think that would be a really good way to go with him. Is just literally just have people come out, maybe not weekly, because you don't want them fighting too much on TV. maybe like every other week, every couple weeks, you finally get somebody that's like, hey, I want that shot, blah, blah, blah. Of course, as he's talking about that and his heritage and everything else, Bobby Lashley comes out to interrupt. Calls El Patron an egomaniac and says, whenever he won it, he never had no celebrations. He never came out and talked about how good he was. It's like people just know it. And goes on and calls that last night's, or the Slammiversary's title win a fluke. Which is good because it plays into his story too of, in the prepackaged for Slammiversary, he said, the only time I've ever lost this, or any time I lose, it's just because of me. It's because either I overlook my opponent or I distract myself. And of course, that's how he lost. And now he's continuing that story. And I think that's great. It's called continuity. Something that another company in another universe does not do. At least not very well. This is some of the best stuff. Like I love it. And I just thought it was really funny. But Lashley started talking about how wants to make sure that they're even there, like legally, and then starts talking about, I'm willing to face you again, but we need to make sure that your family has a wall built around them so that they can stay where they're meant to be or something. Oh my God, it was funny, but it was so like, okay. I mean, that's how you bring real life situations into wrestling, and I think it works. It always works. And I think this just makes, because it started feeling real, especially whenever Dos Caras walked up to Lashley and slapped him, and everybody's like holding each other back, and El Patron's pulling off his jacket, and the refs come in and start trying to separate him. It felt like, oh shit, he crossed the line with what he said. This part's kind of real. That's how it came across, and just was really good. And I can't help. I'm always the guy that says Impact should be different. And Impact, if you're going to name your show Impact, you should always start with an Impact, start with the match, and then you can go to a talking segment. Coming off of that type of a pay-per-view that Slammiversary was, I'm okay with how this started because it started out very entertaining. It kept me entertained and established what was going to happen the rest of the night. And they kept it fairly quick, but always entertaining, and they ended up getting physical. It wasn't like this guy comes out, now this guy comes out, now this guy comes out, now this guy comes out. Now, where it could have gone wrong is if Bruce Pritchard would have came out and talked, and then maybe Dutch came out and talked, and then Karen came. That's where they could have gone awry and done a WWE style segment. This was done actually fairly well. I was entertained, and I was not upset with the way that they started this show off with that. After that, though, they do go backstage, and again, continuity. They weren't going to just have that match between Josh and JB, and then just now they're fine on the commentary team. I liked this. They go backstage, and they have Pritchard from earlier in the day talking to the announce team, and basically saying, hey, listen, are you guys okay? Are we done here? Is this done? Can we just move on now? And then he said, you know what I said in Mumbai, it's still intact. If any of you bicker or get a physical altercation with each other or take away from the commentary, you're fired. And he goes, and then Pope's just like, thank God. And he's like, Pope, what are you laughing at? Same goes for you. Now, there's a reason why they're doing that. I really do believe. I think, and I'm hoping. God, I'm hoping. I don't know. I've been actually really, this one of the first times I knew about like the Super X Cup and the opponents, unfortunately. But outside of that, I've been really good about not seeing spoilers. And I don't know if that has to do with I stopped following certain people, or if thanks to Slammiversary and some of the connections that Jeff is making, doing a lot of interviews with WrestleZone, with The Law, with Busted Open Radio. I don't know if them doing that now, they're starting to gain more of that respect back. So I'm still seeing spoilers posted, which, that's fine. I see spoilers for Ring of Honor, for NXT. People, post the betting odds for WWE and stuff. So that's always going to happen, but I don't ever remember, unless it's a fan that happens to be there that spoils it, outside of like the legit dirt sheet people, websites, wrestling websites and everything, they say spoilers, but they say you have to click here to see the spoiler, instead of just being like, hey, title change happens at Impact, and then the thumbnail on their headline is, like Alberto Del Rio holding the title, you know what I mean? like whenever he wanted. Um, so I'm happy about it. I'm hoping that that's the case, that uh, Impact and Global Force is starting to gain the respect from some of these websites, that they're not going to just outright spoil it for people that don't want it spoiled. So I've been good about that. So I don't know what the income of that is, but there's a reason why they threw Pope into that, and I'm hoping it ends up being that he gets back into the ring. That's my hope, because I always liked Pope whenever he was making his initial run in Impact and Global Force TNA. I always really liked it. I dug the gimmick. I thought it was really good. There's a couple times where it kind of went off the rails a little bit, but overall, I thought it was really good. And he should have won the Impact Championship at some point. He really should have. I think he was one of the unfortunate ones that didn't benefit from the Hogan Bischoff regime, because he was super hot. Like, was it 08, 09 that he came in, I think? And then 10, here comes in Hogan and Bischoff, and it just, he had that match at Lockdown with AJ for the title, but then just he never re-entered that scene again. So hopefully we can get Pope back in. Get Pope back in the ring. It's not that I hate him on the commentary team, but he's much better as a wrestler. Like, I'd much rather have him in the ring. So hopefully that's what that'll be. So then we get to our first match of the night, and it's Caleb Conley versus Sanjay Dutt. Caleb Conley's got some crazy strikes. I mean, those just turns around, just straight through people. Just really crazy strikes. And, I thought Conley looked pretty good throughout the match, did what he needed to do. This match in a whole is kind of what I'm hoping Sanjay Dutt's title run is like, if he's going to hold it for a minute. Where he'll have some non-title matches, some title matches against some of these up-and-coming guys like Caleb Conley that you need to get established in the X division. And Sanjay started off okay. Right? It was kind of an even match. Caleb Conley got in a lot of big moves, got in to make himself look really good. Kind of almost to the point where he's dominating Sanjay. Sanjay comes back, hits him with a couple big moves, boom, and wins. So at the end, Sanjay's not looking like a super weak, terrible champion, but he's giving people, the younger X Division guys that a lot of people don't know yet, he's giving them a showcase. So that's what I really liked about this match, and that's what I'm hoping this whole title run is for Sanjay if he keeps it for a while. After the match, Trevor Lee comes in, attacks Sanjay, steals the belt, says, now the newest X Division champion, Trevor Lee, and walks out with the title. So, I remember earlier in the day yesterday, there was a lot of people talking about, man, Trevor Lee's getting buried. They're going to let Trevor Lee go. Man, I hate this shit. Why can't they push Trevor Lee? Trevor Lee should be X Division champion. Patience. Clearly, they're not forgetting about Trevor Lee. They just had to do other stories to get to something else. It's an episodic television show. Okay? It'll happen. It's like The Walking Dead. One episode will be really focused on Rick, Michonne, and Carl, and you're like, man, I hate whenever they don't have Daryl in an episode, and then Daryl's in the very next episode. It's mainly just Daryl. It happens all the time. It's the same thing with wrestling. You can only push so many people at one time. Then it cycles through, and now you keep pushing somebody else, because that's how you keep stories fresh. You set people behind. Now you want. You're like, man, where's this guy been? I really want him. Guess what? Next story. He's it. He's the main guy. So it's patience. We need to. I always hate it when our fans do that. Enjoy the product. Enjoy the product. Just because one guy's not getting pushed doesn't mean you need to bitch about the whole product. But yeah, Trevor Lee. I can't wait to watch that, man. I think Trevor Lee versus Sanjay Dutt in a really good X Division match for a title that's going to last a good time could really bring the house on. I think it'd be really good. After that, we go backstage with Mackenzie Mitchell, and she is talking to Veterans of War, Eddie Edwards, and Grado. The return of Grado. No, I don't hate Grado. He's the comic relief guy that really doesn't need to be doing anything. So I'm okay with that because then that keeps other guys that could be better non-comedy guys. You know what I mean? So I don't mind Grado. Grado's fine. That's just kind of an odd team whenever they're going to talk about America. he's Scottish, right? I'm pretty sure he's Scottish. Like, but I like how Eddie's like, and the almost American Grado. That was funny, and that's probably why they threw him in. Well, it brings him back too. It's kind of a funny thing, the fact that Grado's character is basically like he likes to copy everything, right? Does the fanny pack rock thing, does like stunners, it's almost like Eugene without saying that he's a special needs person. He's just a big fan that's a goofball and that doesn't really take anything serious. That's Grado. And so I get that. They try to do something funny with VOW going like, yeah, because we're American as, and then Eddie's whoa, we do love America. So that was funny. Then that leads though to, after commercial break, an 8-man tag. We get, like I said, Veterans of War, Grado and Eddie Edwards versus Chris Adonis, Eli Drake, Falaba, and Mario Baccara. Very odd pairings, just all together. Even the other side, like, why were they teamed together? It's just weird. Falaba and Mario Baccara just like show up so randomly. But whatever. But at the end of the day, it was a decent, fun match. Don't quite know the full point outside of maybe just getting guys back on the TV screen, because it definitely showcased VOW and what they can do as a tag team. For a while, it showcased Eli Drake. And then it definitely showcased, and I think this is what the match was mainly to do, was really showcase just how good Eddie Edwards is. But you still had your comedy bits in there with Grado, with Falaba. I don't care what kind of match they've been put into. Falaba still always impresses somehow. He does something that just impresses me. And the way that he did that crossbody fall on Eddie Edwards, oh my God, that was just, that was brutal. But yeah, again, there's several cool spots from VOW, a lot of good tag spots, good spots from Falaba. Eddie Edwards gets a pin, and on Mario Baccara, which is good, because keeps Adonis strong, Eli strong, and obviously everybody else on the winning team strong. After the match, while everybody's celebrating, Joseph Park comes out. So I guess we're not done with that. Walks up, he's got some papers in his hand, starts talking to Grado. Grado seems very upset. He says, "Come on, man, we have to go." I don't know if this is a way to write off Grado. Like they brought him back just to kind of say like, hey, he's here, but bye. Or if this is going to be a longer story. Now they're going to be the new comedy story. The only problem with it is we already kind of did that, where Grado got fired in the Feast or Fired, and then he became Odarg. So I don't know where they're going with this. It could be really funny if they keep it to real small segments, comedy segments, like they did with Spud and Swoggle, and JB and Joseph Park, like those just like 2-3 minute little kind of prepackaged, pre-shot vignettes and stuff. I'm down for it. I think it could be really funny. Grado's hilarious. I think Joseph Park, is just a great performer. The fact that he can be somebody like Abyss and then can turn around and be somebody like Joseph Park just shows just how great he is. So he's always funny whenever he's Joseph Park. So I wouldn't hate it. I would take it as entertainment because that's what it's going to be supposed to be. It's not going to take away from anybody else's TV time or anything else that's going on. It is what it is. And it'll hopefully be funny. Hopefully it's just not too much of a repeat of that other story whenever he was fired. After that, we get another match of Matt Sydal versus Braxton Sutter. Very odd pairing that they would put these two together. Because obviously they're clearly pushing Matt Sydal to the moon. They've also kind of been pushing Braxton Sutter to the moon. So I didn't quite know what to think of this. The match was okay. Sydal wins with just that amazing 450. It's just, yeah. That was just his, yeah. It's really good. Or not 450. Why can't I think of the damn name? Is it 450? I can't think of the damn name now. Sorry if I'm getting it wrong. Leave the comments. Tell me what it is in the comments, guys. But yeah, there was nothing too crazy going on in the match. After the match, though, they did something really weird, and it was whenever Allie came in to try to like pick up Braxton and kind of console him, and like he ripped his arm away from her. It's really weird because I don't know why you go through all that to like now what? Are they gonna try to break him up? Or they're like, you know what? We have too many faces. We need more heels, and they're just gonna do it with Sutter. I don't know. I guess I'm intrigued, right? Since I don't know, and I'm kind of curious where they're going with it, but I don't know if I'm gonna like it. Anyway, we get another prepackaged from the LAX Clubhouse, and again, it's just Konnan just trying to continue teasing the new member, how they're gonna fully take over and all that stuff. Then we go to the ring, and JB's in the middle of the ring, and he announces the Super X Cup. I like this because it's not them clearly bringing back the World X Cup that they used to do all the time, where they took all these different nations, put like 3 or 4 people on each team, do all these point systems, blah, 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 blah. You have like a singles match, 3-way match, or tag matches, Ultimate X matches. They don't have to do that. I like that because they took that same concept but made it new, so it didn't seem like they were just straight copying. They're still getting people from all around the world. It's still calling it's still X Division style stuff, and it's still a tournament. And I like it. I think this is gonna be really good, and it's especially since they're kind of doing those pre-packages to introduce you to each guy right before the match. It does resemble the Cruiserweight Classic. I have to admit that, but I think Impact's about to show them how to really do it. But start off, he introduces all the combatants. They all come out, and then he announces the first round matchups. And wow, I was giddy as he was announcing these matchups because I know all these guys except for Idris Abraham, but I've seen him obviously in Impact. I just haven't seen him do anything outside of Impact. But man, I'm sitting there like, oh, and the first matchup that he says is Sammy Guevara versus Drago. Oh, I don't know if they've ever actually wrestled before together, but I've seen, obviously, both of them. I've seen Drago a lot in Lucha Underground. I've seen Sammy Guevara a little bit, like Wrestle Circus stuff I've seen online, and a couple other like random things that I've seen of him. I really hope after this Super Cup X stuff happens that he does officially get signed. Same thing with like ACH. I hope those two legit do get signed, and not just for this Super Cup X stuff. But yeah, so we get Sammy Guevara versus Drago. Great match. That match is going to be just absolutely insane. ACH versus Andrew Everett. Another great matchup. That's going to be super fast. Ishimori versus Davey Richards. You couldn't have asked for a better matchup. The way Davey moves in the ring, Ishimori moves in the ring. Somebody on Twitter compared Ishimori to like RVD. Yeah, you're exactly right. Like that's exactly what he is. He's very much like RVD. Just even in like his getup, obviously not the mask part, but just his look, the way he moves, very very close to RVD. But just those two styles mesh perfect. Davey does have a lot of that Japanese strong style in him, and it's just gonna be really good. I just think that's gonna be a really good match. And then, of course, the match we got that night, Idris Abraham versus Desmond Xavier, which everybody was super stoked about, was Desmond Xavier. You could tell they're really pushing Desmond Xavier. I'm guessing that's who's going to win this thing to really catapult him up high into that X division. I think they have a lot of big plans for this guy. I mean, they're talking about him a lot right before that match. In Idris Abraham's prepackaged interview, he says, I know a lot of people pick him to win, but blah blah. Like there's just those little hints thrown at you, like okay, they're setting those messages your way to know, like this is the guy. Desmond Xavier's the guy. So right now that's my pick to win. And I would not be mad about that at all. I think this dude's super talented. Still needs to work on I think a character a little bit. Right now it's just, hey, I'm a crazy good athlete. Look at me. So hopefully he gets a character and kind of really develops on a gimmick and gets people to really buy into him outside of just, dude, look what this guy can do type stuff. Because that can only last for so long. But man, that final, I mean, it looked like the spiral tap that AJ Styles used to do, just done way quicker. And I couldn't tell what he said. Did he say the spiral splash? Or like the final splash? Spinal splash? Something like that. If it's the spinal splash, that's like a direct you to AJ. That's kind of what it seems like to me. A little bit. I don't know. But I don't know. I think Jeff and AJ are still friends, so I don't think that's what the case would be. But he wins the match with that move. They have another little interview with him after that. That's where he gave the name of that move. So he moves on to the second round. In the back we go again to Mackenzie Mitchell, and she's interviewing Moose. And we find out that Moose will face Marufuji next week for that Grand Championship. But there's somebody that does not agree with that. He's not happy, and that would be the one, the only EC3. And he wants to bring trouble to one Moose for giving a title shot to an outsider. Whenever he just took out a legend in James Storm, he deserves that shot. So, of course, then they kind of go back and forth. And so that could be the next thing after the Marufuji match. It's going to be EC3 and Moose. Could be fine. We'll see. That's one of those matches. We'll wait and see how good that ends up being. Then we go back to the ring, and we have in a non-title match, Rebel, the returning Rebel, versus Sienna. And for the most part, it was definitely a squash match. Rebel kind of started coming back a little bit until KM distracted her. Then she dives off the top rope, jumps on KM, slaps KM, and then whenever she gets back in the ring, Sienna, makes her tap out with that whatever it's called, that choke out move, that submission move, gets her to tap out. Sienna is the winner. Then we move on to Lashley, the main event. Lashley versus Alberto El Patron. I have never liked, and WWE does this so much. I've never liked, though, whenever you have a pay-per-view match, and then your next TV show, you have that rematch. It's boring. It's almost telegraphing what's going on. And if you did reverse that decision and put the belts back on Lashley, it's kind of like, well, what the hell do we watch the pay-per-view for? I get what they were doing with the story of the possible LAX thing, but they could have done it against somebody else. They could have waited another week. They could have done this with EC3. Well, yeah, they could have done this with EC3. I was going to say you didn't want to do it against the heel, but they already did it against the heel and Lashley. They could have done this against EC3. They could have done this against Eli Drake. They could have done this with Matt Sydal. Anybody else. They could have had them come out and challenge Lashley, or challenge El Patron, and then have Lashley off TV for a week, and then he comes back. I think that would be the perfect double turn. I think if you're gonna have Patron heel, you have to have Lashley turn face, and Lashley can do the whole Brock Lesnar style turns. Nothing really changes. He just is maybe less cocky about certain things. So now, instead of being like, I'm the best, you don't want this, you can't beat me, it turns into him going against the heel, kind of saying the same things, but not seeming like an asshole about it. And people will cheer him if the other guy is somebody that they really hate. And if Alberto Patron turns heel and does join LAX, I personally think that would be the thing that would take it over the top. Now, everybody would hate Patron. You'd have Lashley could come in and save the day, and challenge him then. But they didn't go that way. I'll say this: like I love so far, I've loved every match that they have put on between Lashley and El Patron. They always do a great job of storytelling throughout the match. And of course, Patron hits a 619. That was awesome. But outside of that, one thing I really noticed in this match, I started thinking back, I'm like, you know what? They have almost done this in every match that I can remember. These two are really good about, sometimes in wrestling today, there's too many near falls, right? You stop believing in the near falls. And it's mainly because it's like finisher, near fall, finisher, okay, well then you're just killing your finishers. Lashley and Alberto Patron have done really well. It's like the first couple near falls, it's them just like trying to get a quick pinfall. Then it escalates. Now the next couple times that they try to go for near falls, they do very, impressive, intense moves, but it's not a finisher, and they're just trying to be like, okay, I'm trying to get him now, and I like a surprise. Then they move up to even more, where it's almost their finishers, or it's their second finishers. Ones that they have won matches with, but not like their main one. And then they kick out. Like, it's desperation kick out. And it's desperation, like, I just want to end this match because I don't have much left type thing. Then they start going to their finishers, or they try to go to submissions, but they get to the ropes. It all crescendos up to that main finisher, and you can tell, oh, this is it. And boom, so then if they do kick out and it isn't their fault, then it's, oh, no way. These guys tell a story better than almost anybody does anymore. These two are really good, especially together. It's just, I really enjoyed that match last night. After a bit, Lashley does start to dominate, which then brings Santana in, and Santana's sitting up on top of the turnbuckle. He starts yelling at him, then that just gives everybody else the time. The rest of LAX jumps in the ring, starts just absolutely beating the hell out of Lashley. Then Konnan gets on the mic, says all of his stuff, says El Patron is the newest member of LAX. And, he's kind of out of it. El Patron's kind of out of it, can't really stand, it's getting held up. So as they're posing there, Patron's just kind of like this. And the announcers start kind of leaking in that bit of doubt, like, oh, but is he? I don't even think he knows what's going on. Does he know what just happened? So they're setting in this this little bit of doubt that even though they said El Patron is the new member, is he really though? That's a good question. And I've talked about this on Twitter with some people too, and I know I'm not the only one that's thought this. I don't know, because I haven't seen the spoilers, like I said. Luckily, I'm so happy I've not been able to see this. Because now it's really intriguing for me, trying to break this down. And I'm almost starting to lean to no. He's not the newest member. I think it's all ploy. On the same night. And sometimes Alberto does go off script, so sometimes what he says does not mean a damn thing. But just him hinting at his brother becoming a member of Impact, of Global Force Wrestling, and working on Impact, it just kind of has me thinking, I could see this. His brother, jealous of the success of Alberto, joins LAX, but the whole plan is for them to get everybody to turn on Alberto. So they say he's the member, and then it'll finally be revealed that actually the new member is his brother. I think that'd be very interesting. I would also really like El Patron to be the leader of LAX. I think that would make them just like legit and really cool. And then you can have he's the champion. Homicide goes after the X Division. Diamante goes after the Knockouts. And LAX has got the tag. That's a pretty dominant group. I think that'd be awesome. And I think Del Rio now becomes that heel that he's also really good at. And again, like I said, he looks like the Godfather, looks like the boss. Putting him in LAX is like perfect. He's the boss. He's the rich, Godfather dude. And these are his, this is his army. This is his thug army that goes out and does his dirty work. That would be really cool. That would be a really cool twist on LAX that can freshen them up. They're not the same old, hey, we go LAX and we do this. They've been doing that for a while. This could be really cool. Regardless of what does happen with Alberto and LAX, I'm intrigued anyway. I'm going to be happy either way. So they can't go wrong here in my eyes. But yeah, so that was last night's episode of Impact Wrestling. And I'm intrigued, man. I can't wait for the rest of the Super X Cup. The Super X Cup, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you've never watched Impact Wrestling. I don't care if you've always hated Impact Wrestling. You can't hate this. You cannot sit here with the guys that they brought in and sit there and be like, still bullshit. Yeah, they still suck. No, they don't. They clearly don't. You're telling me you wouldn't at least tune in to YouTube to watch those specific matches at least? Come on. You would watch those. Those are great. Those are great wrestlers that can go in the ring and they're going to have fantastic matches. Absolutely fantastic matches. I mean, they just keep killing it. To me, they keep killing it. There are obviously things that they can always work on. It's always work in progress. But it's nothing that other companies don't also, have a hard time doing, So, it is what it is. I'm enjoying it. I hope you guys are enjoying it. I thought this is a great episode to follow after Slammiversary. Can't wait to see what changes that they keep going with. And, just think it's going to be really good. So, I want to know what you guys think. Leave your comments down below. Hit me up on Twitter at Anthem of Impact. Check out some of my other videos. If this is the first video you've seen, go check some of my other videos out. I did a Slammiversary review, a prediction show. I did some unboxings. I have a video where I talk about the Broken Hardy stuff. Ooh, speaking of Broken Hardys. I saw, what was it, maybe a week ago? Everybody's reporting they are so close to getting the broken gimmick. The Hardys are close. They're close to a deal. It could happen any day now. And if you look at a lot of their sources, now a lot of people, like Meltzer says, oh, it's a source. I've got a source. And even though he never says who the source is, nobody does. But the rest of the people are like, oh, plus, Matt says on Twitter, we are days away of winning the Great War. Oh, because Matt says, in a very cryptic way, that must mean it's true, right? So, I just always find it funny. Because then, here we are, yesterday or the day before. Now news breaks, actually, they're nowhere close to getting the broken gimmick. Oh. I'm sure some wrestling websites are very credible. They have people in the know. But I just feel like in the wrestling business, too many things change all the time. And a lot of times in the wrestling business, that's always a work. So people are always working everybody. I really don't think a lot of these people know anything. They don't report anything that they actually know. Hardly ever comes true. Maybe it's just kind of the conspiracy theorist in me, even though I'm not like a big conspiracy theorist, but sometimes I'll pick some out. And this one's kind of one of them. It's the constant work on getting people to stay mad and keep hating Impact. Oh man, they had a great Slammiversary. Oh man, that was a great show. A lot of people are actually starting to turn around and start to like it again. Oh wow, they're rebranding. Hey, they're finally doing this. Oh my god, did you hear about ACA, Sammy Guerrero, and all these guys joining in? Oh my god, they've got partnerships with AAA and Noah and other independent wrestlings. AAW, Wrestle Circus? If they're going to do a partnership with Wrestle Circus, that's huge. Okay? Because they went out and named Wrestle Circus on TV. That's one of the biggest booming independent wrestling organizations in America today. That would be huge. All this stuff's going on good, so what are they going to do? They're going to report knowing that they don't have it. That they're almost to have it. And then go, nope, Impact, they pulled it away. Ah, they're still keeping them from it. Screw Impact. F that out, right? It keeps that going. It keeps Impact from being successful. And to be honest with you, I don't even think it's because the writers themselves or the people running these websites themselves hate Impact or don't want it to succeed. They care about their own websites more, though, than the wrestling business. If they still have a company that they know that they can put a headline out saying they did this again, or Impact sucks, or Impact did this, or Global Force did this, or Global Force did that, they know people are clicking on it because they know there's a big kind of overall hatred for that company, and that will get them clicks, that'll get them advertisements, that'll make them money. That's what it is. Flat out. No doubt in my mind, that right there is the truth behind why every other week we keep getting an update on this stupid broken gimmick bull. And this is coming from a guy that I don't care. I don't care if it goes to the WWE. Initially, I kind of did because, all the Rebby Hardy stuff and Matt Hardy stuff on Twitter really was pissing me off. And I was like, you know what? You guys don't deserve it. I don't care because, like BQ said yesterday on his Periscope, it's going to fizzle out. And it will. Because everybody's going to see it, be like, oh, they're going to get excited for it. And then WWE is going to do what they do with everything. Make it bland. Make it not as good as it was in Impact. And make it corporate. And they're going to hate it. And it's going to die. And I'm sorry. I'm not trying to sit here and say Matt's not a talented dude. But if he doesn't have that broken gimmick, he's done. Like, he's not interesting. Matt Hardy himself, by himself, is not interesting. He does have a great mind. He's got a very good creative wrestling mind. No doubt about that. But whatever, he is just stuck as Matt Hardy. And he's got a creative team working for him as just being Matt Hardy. It's boring. He needs that broken gimmick, and he knows it. He knows he's not lasting in the WWE if he doesn't get that. But outside of that, that's why I don't care. I could care less if they get it, because it's not going to be that big of a deal. It really isn't. So I don't care. So this isn't coming from a guy that's sitting there like they don't deserve it, and that's why I think what I do about the dirt sheets talking about it. But that is what I think. I really do think it's a way that they can keep clicks up, they can keep money going, because, it's like whenever people go online to look at reviews of things, I don't ever look at those at all, because I've really kind of gotten to the point where, all you ever see are bad reviews. Why? Because when have you ever gone out and you were like, man, that was a really cool place, I really enjoyed that food, and then we're like, you know what, I'm going to sit down on the computer and write a review. Not too many times. If you had a really, really bad experience and you really hated that place, or you just got fired so you're pissed and you really hate that place, guess what you're doing? That's going to drive you enough to get on to the computer and start typing up a bad review. So it's the same way with getting clicks on professional wrestling or any type of website of any type of topic, really. Negative stuff sells. Because if you hate it, it's going to drive you to want to read it. Be like, yeah, I agree. If it's something good, you don't really care. You know, you kind of go, oh, that's a good headline. Good. It's a good thing that they did a good headline. And then leave. So, or did a good story with that headline, you know, and then not read it. So that's what I really think it is. But anyway, I'm going long. Again, leave comments down below. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification button. Also, go follow me on Twitter. You know, I'm always on Twitter checking people, checking my timeline, seeing if people are trying to talk to me. I do my best to answer everybody that I can. You know, at Anthem of Impact. And, you know, until next Friday, until next Thursday, whenever I'm live tweeting this show, to the Force, I say peace.